Hello, it's George from Australia, and welcome to Gaming My Whole Life, where I discuss everything video game related from pixels to 3D till now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be discussing Doom 3 because I tell you what, I finally learned to like this game 17 years later, and having finally been able to appreciate this game, I've noticed something. Doom 3, by far, is the bravest Doom out of all of them, and I'm including the original Doom right up until the current, which is Doom Eternal. Doom 3 is freaking brave, man, so I'm going to break it down into 2 reasons why I feel that's the case, and let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts and feelings. Let's get to it. Let's talk graphics, baby. So when I use the word brave, I'm talking about doing something that takes a lot of balls. I'm talking about doing something that isn't the obvious best answer and that may not necessarily even be the expected answer. So let's have a look at graphics. That is the first category, right? Graphics in Doom 3 were just boundary pushing, the best graphics you had ever seen. The majority of people stood no chance of even running the game on minimum settings on PC. That sort of graphic demandingness, right? And this is a big deal because the first Doom and all the Dooms that came out after it, before we entered 3D, right? These games were designed specifically to work on basically any computer possible, right? That was the goal. They wanted to make the best looking game possible that pretty much almost had no PC requirements, so then anyone could go ahead and play these masterpieces. And obviously was a grand success, as it's been famously reported that somehow there were more copies of Doom installed than there were copies of Windows, which is just, you know, who knows how they managed to do that. Now, to go from that, right, to go from the game that works on every single device and computer and so forth, to do your first 3D entry and not give a flying F about who can't run it, and the lighting, oh my goodness, the lighting, everything, the textures, the animations, the character models, the fact that you could animate their jaws and the way their skins reacted, the way the lighting stretched across everywhere, the texture quality. This was the sort of game that you saw it in the video game magazine and you're like, right, that looks amazing, that looks terrifying, there is no chance my computer's going to run it. I mean, Doom 3 came out during the PlayStation 2, the GameCube and the Xbox era, and 2 of those systems couldn't even run the thing. Only the Xbox managed to get a port of Doom 3. That's how much of a brave move this is. They chose to go with their gut, right? They chose to want to push the Doom series as far as possible visually, despite the consequences, despite the fact that most people wouldn't even be able to run it because they didn't want their vision held back. And the best example of just how amazing this game is, right? And the best example, the biggest wow moment, the biggest gaming nerdy flex, oh my goodness, is the first time that you come across one of those imps. What are they called? Imps, gimps, the brown guys that can throw the fireballs, right? From the original Dooms. The first time you come across that thing, you're like, oh right, that looks scary, whatever. It's normally in a dark area. And then all of a sudden, they summon the fireball and you're like, oh shit. That fireball, you could see the lighting affected the character model, affected the environment, caused the shadow to stretch. And then even as they throw the fireball and the fireball is flying towards you, you can see that the fireball continues to illuminate light around the whole environment as it comes towards you. And because the game is purposely built with a dark, spooky environment, it just makes a greater impact. So if the game was well bright, if it was lit normally and they threw a fireball at you, it's like, yeah, cool, whatever, there's a bit of light. But when you have complete darkness and you can't see anything apart from the fireball that wants to take you and your children away from existence flying at you, I'll be honest, the first time I came across that, I died because I was too busy being mesmerized by the graphics than, realizing that I was in mortal danger. The most controversial flashlight in the history of gaming divided fans. Let's talk gameplay. Alright, so the bravest thing they did was the gameplay and specifically the use of the flashlight. Now look, don't get me wrong, right? This flashlight is the reason why I hated this game when I was younger. Like, graphics aside, eventually got my hands on it, and the moment I realized I had to choose between seeing what's in front of me with the flashlight and shooting, and I could not hold two at the same time, that killed it. I have never walked away from a game so quickly. I hated it because as soon as I got that flashlight, yeah, cool, the effect was awesome. I had to look around and you could only see where the flashlight was. Cool, but the fact that I had to choose between a flashlight and the ability to defend myself, and not only that, but the freaking flashlight ran out of battery. It wasn't even a permanent thing. So I ran around holding the flashlight, right? And I'm using it everywhere. And then as soon as I came across enemies, right? The flashlight died. I didn't have my weapon out. I died. And you know what? Being young and being freaking angry, I came to the conclusion it's not me. The game sucks. That's it. There's nothing more to discuss. So I noticed a lot of the game is actually specifically designed around the fact that, hey, you can actually get by without the flashlight. See, while you're playing, right, you'll notice that you have your items, you have your ammunition and all that. And you may notice at first that they glow and you don't give it any thoughts. Like, right, items glow a bit. That's a very typical gamer experience. But what you may have not realized is that the developers were helping you and you didn't actually need the flashlight as often as you thought. So firstly, whenever there were dark areas and I didn't know what was going on, I just had a little look and I wanted to see if there was anything blue or red glowing. That let me know if there was ammunition or anything else to pick up. So the fact that while I'm exploring the environment, say I'm on the beaten path and I can see where I'm going, and say to my left and my right I can't see, if I can't hear any enemies, well, frankly, shooting at me, you know, they're not normally quiet or grunting zombie-like things, it should be clear, and I only need to go into that dark area if I see something glow, right? So then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hang on, I maybe don't need the flashlight so much. And then you start to appreciate, like, that's a very interesting situation. And when it's a bigger threat, like, you know, the fireball imps, well, they make themselves notice. There's no way you are not going to notice complete darkness. Then all of a sudden this freaking demon fireball thing starts illuminating in front of you before he throws that sexy ass fireball at you. Dang, it's so sexy. And yes, there's going to be areas that absolutely demand you to use the flashlight. But if you're not using the flashlight all the time like a immature teenage George, then you're going to notice that the battery life is actually more than long enough. See, it turns out the trick to Doom 3 is to actually play it the majority of the time without the flashlight. Younger me didn't get that. Younger me didn't have the patience, the experience, any of that. Younger me just kept using that flashlight. The flashlight kept going dark. I didn't notice anything about anything glowing. And so I just automatically assumed this is a really stupid, sucky decision that they made. The game sucks, not me. There is some good news though. If you honestly just can't get over the flashlight, right, there is a Doom 3 BFG edition which basically has the flashlight attached to your weapon. That way you get the best of both worlds. That way you don't have to choose one between the other. And friendly heads up, right, I got this game running beautifully, looks gorgeous, looks sexy and all that on, you know, the latest Windows, right? But some adjustments did have to be made. Look, keep in mind this is a really old game, 17 years. It's not hard though. I'll have a link below right here to another YouTuber. I had to look up a solution to get this game running in full screen. If you go ahead and buy it after, you know, watching this lovely video of mine, and of course after you've subscribed, say you go ahead and try to play this, it's not going to work straight away, but the instructions from this other YouTuber will have linked below in the comment section and in the description. It works really well, got it all working. You edit the files once and it works great. So there you have it. Doom 3 isn't as bad as I thought and I'm vigorously enjoying it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful morning, afternoon or evening depending on where you all live on this big blue planet of ours. God bless you all, take care. And I'll see you all for the next video here, Gaming My Whole Life, where we discuss everything from pixels to 3D till now. Alright, bye bye.